a Paintalong painting. This is kind of a Bob Ross method. I haven't really done too many of these, but the students seem to like them. What we have is we have our picture pre-stenciled on our canvas that I had on paper. Could you hand me that paper, please, and I'll bring it over here. You're going to need your brushes, and we do have a suggested paint list, and you can use the paint that you have, too. Thank you very much. Thank you. So you can buy this paper. It's a transfer paper that you can buy at art stores. And I taped it together. It's non-greasy, so it doesn't make any grease. So I taped it together. This is the side that you're going to write on. And you get a piece of paper so that all of the students we're all doing the same picture, so we're all on the same page. They have placed this down. They use the end of their brush, they said, worked the best. The handle on the brush. And they put this on top of the canvas, and this on top, and then they push down with their brush handle. So everybody has this on their canvas. I additionally had folded my picture. I folded my picture into 4 parts. I did it on my computer, on my printer. I made a black and white one, and I folded it in half, folded in half, folded in half, until I had this many. And that helped me to draw. You can't see it too much here, but that helped me to draw the original outline. I am going to request that the students don't go ahead and paint it on their own. Let's do it all in class. We should get this done. I think 4 classes should do it, but I think some we can finish in 1 or 2 classes. I have this method of putting my paints in a Tupperware container. This isn't by Tupperware, but it's a cupcake and egg container. And I highly recommend you to have some kind of a cover. If you're using acrylic, it works really good. And you can just spray your water in there on top of your paints, and it'll keep your paint fresh for months. I've had it fresh for months. And you can see how dirty these are. I wash these in my sink with my scrub brush, rinse them out. But you can also spray paint these to make them white again if this bothers you. This doesn't bother me, but sometimes I've painted them twice with spray paint. But they work really good for putting your paints on there. Brushes, use a variety of your own brushes. I have the light filberts, which are the ones that are rounded on the top. And I do like angled brushes too, so I have some angled ones. Because this painting is going to be a 60 by 20, we don't want to use a real little brush. If you were painting Farmer Jones' barn, you wouldn't paint his barn with a little brush. It's a big surface, so you would use a great big brush. So we're probably going to be using our fan brush at some point. I do have extras if you don't have one. So these are probably the sizes that I'm going to be painting with. I have a filbert. I have a couple of filberts because I happen to like them really a lot. And I'll be pulling on other things too. You also might want to have your palette knife for doing. We might even put some paint on with our palette knife. But if you don't have a palette knife, that's okay too. The color list that we're using is we have. That's not my color list. Let's see. Who has the color list? Does someone have the color list right here? Okay, thank you. All right, the color list that we're using is in any kind of white that you have. And I would get raw sienna, burnt umber, cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, cadmium red medium, Hookhurst green, and that would probably be it that you would need. And then, of course, your brushes. Now remember, watercolor brushes can't be used because they're too floppy. This heavy paint will just make them go blurp and they'll go down. Remember too that your paint goes down into the furrow. That's why you want to wash your brushes real good with soap and make sure you whack them on the side of the sink to get all of the paint out of here because the brushes can be very expensive and you don't want to have another color sneak out if you're using white and all of a sudden yellow comes out. So make sure your brushes are kept clean. All right, and with that, what we're going to do next is we're going to spread out our paint. And I think I'm going to explain to you about paint. I noticed that I've had students that, oh, the side is blue. Well, we'll just take it right out of the tube and we'll put it right on there. Wrong. We have to mix it. All the paints will be mixed. We don't use anything out of the tube. They manufacture paint, so they're in pure colors. They're intense. And we have to fix them so they're not that intense because if you look around the room, there might be a green. It's certainly not like what's in the tube, so we have to mix it the proper color. We want to make sure on your painting if you want to look at it, the picture. This is a garden scene, and I find that tree on the left kind of confusing where the branches just kind of hang down. I don't care for that too much. I noticed that the picket fence over here, the picket parts, they stand up over the fence, but they don't on the left. So I think I'm going to correct that. Even though we stenciled them on, not sticking up, I think we're going to stick up the picket fence, the picket post part. Notice too that we just have masses. We just have a mass, a clump of flowers, some shading here. This is a trellis with flowers on it. This is part of a tree. So we don't handle it picky every little thing. The flowers will be done last. They'll be done the last day. We put the bright flowers on. We got to build from behind. So we're going to do the sky, and I'm thinking also that we're going to eliminate some of these trees up in this part, and we'll bring this more sky. I think the blue sky is very pretty on this picture, but we don't see enough of it. So I think we're going to eliminate some trees over here. We can decide. Not everybody's will be alike. You feel free to do some things if you want. One question would be, do we want to add flowers to that trellis, or do we want it just like that? I kind of like it just white, but we want to have the start of something. Maybe these purple things could start flowing up over them. So we're going to change it as we go along a little bit, but they should all be quite similar when we paint this. They should all kind of look alike. Are there any questions from anyone before we turn off the camera and the video? Does anybody have a question about so far what we're talking about? It's a horizontal picture, so we have our canvas back and forth. Any questions? Okay, then I think what we'll do is we'll